All right, let's jump into Friday feedback. If you have something you'd like to communicate to me, you can email info@davidpakman.com or post on the subreddit or leave a comment on YouTube or leave a comment on TikTok or leave a comment on Facebook or not really looking at Twitter these days, but you could try, I guess, responding to me on Twitter, although it probably isn't going to get too far at this point. All right, we start today with a post from Reflex Point on the subreddit. And Reflex Point asks, are the Obamas ever going to get involved? Given how popular they are, they have been very quiet. I don't know if they're just waiting for the optimal timing right before the election to get involved, but I feel like Barack and Michelle need to be more vocal about what's at stake. And this is especially important for the minority vote. While Biden may be losing minorities, Obama was still popular with minority voters. He may be able to rally their support to Biden. I'm sure Obama will give a great speech at the convention, but that's not enough. Well, over the weekend, Barack Obama did get involved, and Barack Obama showed up at a big fundraiser.
Obama.
Yeah, Barack Obama. He showed up at a big fundraiser for Joe Biden in Los Angeles. Of course, the right saying, oh, they're the elites and they've got all the wealthy people and all this different stuff, ignoring that Trump just did a fundraiser at Silicon Valley, but put that aside for a moment. I think that they are getting involved at probably the right time. If Barack Obama gets involved too much earlier than now, think about it. The conventions, starting with the RNC, start in about a month. If Obama gets involved too early, it starts to become less newsworthy that he's involved. And I think you lose some of the impact of that. And so right now, lately, Obama has been starting to get involved at these private fundraisers, helping Joe Biden to build the war chest, which I hate that this is the way we do politics in the US, but to the extent that we do, you need money. And I fully expect, it's abundantly clear that as we get to and beyond the conventions and that final couple months of campaigning really gets going, I can only imagine that Barack Obama is going to be very much front and center. Michelle, I don't know. I know that there's right wingers convinced that Michelle Obama is about to be injected like bleach into the Democratic nomination process. When Democrats pull Joe Biden, Michelle Obama will be taking his place. Of course, that's not going to happen. She's made it clear she has no interest in running for president. And I don't know how anyone could force her to do it, despite what Vivek Ramaswamy said to me. So she may end up on the campaign trail as well. But I think Obama has made it clear he wants to be involved. And I think he's going to be involved. OK Interview asks on the subreddit, what is Dr. Phil trying to gain from kissing Trump's huge ass? Is Phil auditioning for Trump's VP or cabinet position? Is it the usual greed for the tremendous tax cut? Or was he condescending to Trump, thinking he could shrink him and make himself look like a hero, diagnosing him, but then doing nothing about it? Or is it something more insidious? No, I don't think it's any of these things. Dr. Phil interviewed Trump for the same reason almost anyone with a show would interview a current or former president. Trump's welcome here anytime. Joe Biden's welcome here anytime. So, because first of all, interviewing big name people brings credibility and attention with it. So first and foremost, whether you like Trump or not, the reasons why you would interview him are pretty obvious. And then as far as, kissing up to Trump, that I think just came naturally. And Phil is very clear. I mean, look at my interview with Dr. Phil, where he came in saying, no, I'm not political. I look at things through a psychosocial, cultural lens, and blah, blah, blah. It was nonsense. He's a right winger. And because Dr. Phil is a right winger and they love to talk about the vague degradation and crumbling of values and all these weird, it's like, okay, tell me about the policy you want, dude. He uses the exact same language that people who support Trump use, which is, I don't really know or understand anything about policy, so I'm going to talk about values and being tough on China or whatever. So that's why Dr. Phil sucked up to him, quite simply. He interviewed him because anybody would who has a show, and he sucked up to him because that's the way he feels, and he's a right winger at the end of the day. Revolutionary Ad wrote about my banging of the desk, saying, I love the show and listen daily on my commute. It is common knowledge the audio volume for the show is a little lower than others, and this leads to listening at higher volumes. So I come to you with tears in my eyes due to the many times I've been scared from David banging his desk or mic. My car has its factory sound system, unlike what David used to sell at Best Buy. I worked at Circuit City, not Best Buy. The sound peaks, loud, unexpected bang while driving sucks. Sir, please be more careful. My ears will never be will be ever so grateful. So listen, as far as a couple people have complained that the audio podcast is a low audio level, we have a new process where we are normalizing the audio to -1 decibel, which I have been told by experts in the industry is where it's totally standard, normalized to -1. We're doing that. If the show is still quieter than other shows you're listening to, let me know. I want to know about that. info@davidpakman.com. But I think we've sort of dealt with that. As far as hitting the microphone, I will continue to do the best I can not to hit the microphone. Sometimes I get agitated. I gesticulate. It's there. And it is what it is. I'm going to try to avoid it. Tons of messages about the forthcoming changes to the show. Overwhelmingly positive. Where in the World 89 wrote, these changes sound pretty good to me. I'm just wondering why they've taken so long to be considered. People have been complaining about the call-ins for so long. It's surprising it's taken this long. I never knew the radio and TV version of the show was hindering things so much. Should be interesting to see how things change now. The reason that these changes take a long time is there are a lot of moving parts that go into a production week, including many moving parts that involve parties outside of our show, including parties that move very slowly. Change is sometimes slower than we would like it to be, but hopefully in the right direction. Not everybody believes that. Cone Skater wrote, sad to hear that David is ending the radio TV show. I mean, I understand it 100% and don't disagree from a business standpoint, but I've always thought that the left forfeiting the AM radio space was a turning point in truly losing middle America to the Limbaughs and Hannitys of the world. Not sure if it's even a relevant medium anymore, but I was surprised to hear what a difference Rush Limbaugh made on the radio. Yeah, a couple things. Number one, we're mostly not on AM radio. We're mostly on low power FM stations. Now, I know that people will say, but David, you are on some larger power AM radio stations. We are. I believe the audiences are negligible. We don't get a single email from any of those stations, people listening on those stations. So I think the audience is very, very small. But more importantly is the second part here. As a medium for communication of this kind, a 38-minute hour with 22 minutes of commercials, which is what most commercial radio is simply not the right format for the sorts of conversations I want to have and which are most beneficial to the political discourse. So I think that this is a really positive change with some hiccups that we will weather, no doubt. Alex Jones Coke Nose says, now that David is transitioning exclusively to digital media, will David start dropping F-bombs, S-bombs, and C-bombs? I personally enjoy David's calm and articulate commentary. That said, I've never heard David drop the F-bomb. I'd love to hear it at least once. Well, sometimes I will drop an F-bomb on live streams that are only online, but there is no plan for me to start interjecting profanity into the show. The difference is going to be the following. Once we're off radio and TV, if I get a voicemail where the caller swears, I don't have to bleep it. I can just play it for you and you'll get the full atmospherics of what that was like. I don't have to censor it in any way. When we play a clip where Trump at a rally gets everybody titillated by using the word BS. Oh, what a big, strong guy. He's using the word BS. We can just play Trump saying it. There's no reason that we have to then go, okay, here we've got to put a bleep in because if not, we're going to get an email from a station. They're going to be mad. So I'm not going to start using profanity on the show. I know that a lot of people listen to the show with, I don't want to say little kids, but they listen with children, and I don't know if they want me dropping F-bombs all the time. And so, no, you don't have to worry about that. Tara wrote in on Facebook and says, I think every person who wants to vote Trump must go sit and listen to an entire Trump rally without touching their phone and entertaining themselves any other way than listening to Trump. Then ask them, do you want that person to drive your car with your children or grandchildren in it? If not, then why would you vote for him? Yeah, I mean, listen, a lot of the people that are still going to the Trump cult rallies are in the cult so deeply that it doesn't matter what happens there. I do think there are some reachable voters who, if they went and sat through a Trump rally and saw how he's 2 hours late and lacks complete and total respect for the people that go, and then rants about unintelligible things, glitches constantly, and goes, "Oh, Saudi Arabia, I think a lot of those folks would be dissuaded, and they would go, this guy shouldn't even be whatever. He certainly shouldn't be president of the United States." Would be a nice little assignment. Thinking of voting Trump, I challenge you. Sit through an entire rally and actually show up at the time it's scheduled to start and stay to when it actually ends. Charmaine says about Trump and cognitive decline, until Fox talks about it, it is nothing. I have a friend who plays only Fox on his TV. It's on all day. He never changes the channel. He does not hear anything other than Fox and will not believe anything others tell him are happening in the world. There is no reaching him, and I suspect there are many, many more like him. Charmaine is, of course, correct. And so for me, the reason I think it's a good thing that we are starting to see PBS, NPR, Washington Post, MSNBC, and others talk about Trump's cognitive decline and his melting mayonnaise brain. The reason it's good is if Fox won't talk about it in the way everybody else is, Fox may end up in a position to have to defend it. And even defending it and going, no, all of the liberal media, supposed liberal media, is wrong. Trump's brain is fine. They will be putting the story into the ether. And I still think that that's a good thing. So I think it is good, period, that more and more corporate media outlets are talking about Trump cognitive decline. And I hope we continue to see more of it. We have a fantastic bonus show for you today. You can sign up at joinpakman.com. Don't miss the bonus show. It's an enjoyable, pleasurable thing to listen to. World famous, award-winning, awards we give out. I will admit that. We give out the awards, but it's still an award-winning bonus show. And you can, of course, get a sizable discount using the coupon code SAVEDEMOCRACY24. Also remember, if you prefer written rather than audio-visual content, we have the Substack Premium Newsletter subscription. Every weekday, we send out our Substack newsletter. On the weekend, we do it. It's like an opinion piece, a written version of some topic from the show. And if you want to support our written content, this is totally separate. So if you get one, you don't have direct access to the other. They're separate things. But you can also support the work we do and encourage us to do more of the written content by getting a David Pakman Show Substack Premium Newsletter subscription. We will see you on the bonus show. Hope everybody has a great weekend.